I love this time of year. Spring is finally here, the plants are growing, everything smells fresh. It just makes me happy. But have you noticed that the whole world seems a little angry these days? People are angry with government officials. Government officials, they're angry with each other. Workers, they're angry with their employers and they're quitting their jobs at record rates. Drivers, well, they're angry with each other. And the airlines, they're experiencing the increase of unruly passengers. People were angry because they had to wear masks, and now they're angry because we don't have to wear them on a plane. Well, retail workers, they're being abused by customers. And sadly, in the past 2 years, there's been a 66% increase in mass shootings. Over Easter weekend alone, there were 3 mass shootings. It almost feels like anger and bitterness within humanity is a whole entirely different pandemic that we're now facing. Hi, I'm Nancy Dietrich, a partner with Sycamore Creek and a volunteer on the teaching team. And we're in the series No Offense, and today we're exploring what happens when bitterness takes over. Now, it's Mother's Day today, and for some, it's a day full of love and joy. For others, it's a source of anger and bitterness. So what exactly is bitterness, and how does it get started? Well, I'll share a fancy definition from Psychology Today with you. So all bitterness starts out as hurt, and your emotional pain may well relate to viewing whomever or whatever provoked this hurt as having malicious intent. When we feel that someone did something on purpose, we feel offended. And the article goes on to say anger and resentment is what we're likely to experience whenever we conclude that another has seriously abused us. This feeling of being abused leads to some very strong emotions that can have a very negative impact. Left to fester, that righteous anger eventually becomes the corrosive ulcer that is bitterness. Now that's some pretty heavy stuff to unpack. Let's try a simple cooking analogy to help us make sense of this. Here's the secret recipe for bitterness. 1 cup of hurt, add a cup of malicious intent, and then heat to a bubbling boil of anger and resentment. Simmer until the mixture becomes the bitterness and pour the bitterness over everyone who caused pain. Now the key takeaway is that hurt can lead to bitterness, especially when we perceive that the person who hurt us did it intentionally. Now the problem is that bitterness that's left unchecked can now grow deeper and deeper and rob us of the life God desires for us. Bitterness causes harm to ourselves, but it also causes harm to everyone around us. You might think of it like this. Bitterness acts like a ball and chain. Imagine being held in place with nothing to focus on but our bitterness. Eventually, we can become paralyzed with this emotional pain, which can also lead to physical conditions such as headaches and ulcers and high blood pressure. Now, bitterness can also act like a wrecking ball. We tend to draw others into our pain to punish them. Imagine twirling the wrecking ball all around us in an effort to take out everyone who is standing close to us. With bitterness, there are no winners. Everyone loses. There are all kinds of things that can trigger bitterness. Now, someone posts something on social media and that has our blood boiling. A loved one says something hurtful. A classmate starts a rumor. A coworker does something awful. It can even come from something small that's not really that serious. Anything can start out as a seed of bitterness. It's like planting a garden. You take something small, you put it in the ground, you cover it with fertile soil, you water it, and it begins to grow. I remember back when I was in college, I shared a house with several roommates. We all got along pretty well at first, but eventually we ran into a major conflict. Guess what it was over? It was about doing chores. We had a plan, but people didn't follow it. We started getting angry with each other because someone didn't pick up after themselves. And then somebody used up all the dishes in the kitchen, made a really big mess, and they didn't clean up that mess. Soon we'd start thinking, you didn't do your chores, so I'm not cleaning the bathroom or buying groceries. Next thing you know, someone vented to another roommate. And that person told someone else, and before you know it, it was a feud that was erupting. While I was doing chores, I got frustrated and maybe a little mad. Maybe I started getting angry, started thinking that this person did it on purpose just to get under my skin. What started out as something irritating has now grown into something epic. That brings us to our first chat question. When has something irritating grown into something epic?